And it really traps you in a reality that's very different from everyone your age. While everyone wants to go out and have fun, what you want to do is to stay home and count your calories and not put on weight.
For many years, I asked myself the question, why me? Why did this disorder fall on me?
Whenever I would slip out, I would say, not follow my very strict diet, I would beat myself up and think that I was disgusting, not worthy, not beautiful, not thin enough.
During quarantine, I found myself scrolling on Instagram between classes and noticing these girls with the perfect face and the perfect figure. And when I see these pictures, I can't help but compare myself to them.
I completely agree. With quarantine, it's so easy to get bored and I just reach for my phone and scroll on social media. But I think that as my screen time increased, so did my insecurities.
Yeah, but the problem is that these pictures don't really represent what people look like. On social media, people tend to post that one perfect picture. And since we don't really see people in real life anymore, we start thinking that that is what they actually look like.
This problem has actually become a vicious cycle because when we see those perfect pictures of influencers that were edited to remove any imperfection from their bodies and their faces, we tend to go through the same process when we want to post our own. So we are guilty in a sense of perpetuating those toxic beauty standards by submitting to them.
Yeah. So social media has really set this one body shape that is considered as attractive. And if we don't fit into it, we can't help but not feel as pretty or valued. For example, if we follow the beauty trends of 2021 for young women in Western culture, you can't simply be skinny or curvy. You need to be skinny at the right places and curvy at the right places, just like the Instagram models and celebrities. What is the most disturbing is knowing that these beauty standards will pass on just like others did in the past. But the impact that it may have on us right now can be very damaging, both psychologically and physically.
What is even more shocking is that some companies are actually profiting off of those toxic beauty standards and those issues that people face by promoting slimming products to a young impressionable audience by using celebrities and influencers that fit that mold. So they're profiting off of a diet culture that is so damaging and hurtful to so many young people.
Yeah, and I feel like women are much more open to talk about these beauty standards, but they also affect men and other individuals from the LGBTQIA communities. These individuals might not feel like they have this space or freedom to talk openly about these things as much as others do, because society has told them to be strong, independent, and to bury their feelings and insecurities.
Strict and unrealistic beauty standards have always been promoted in diverse media, but I think that nowadays it has been more exacerbated by social media because they have the ability to target such a vast and impressionable audience. So even though most of us are actually affected by those beauty standards, some have to deal with more serious consequences because some of us can actually rationalize those perfect pictures and know that they're actually edited, there's lighting, angles, but others that suffer from eating disorders or are predisposed to eating disorders can get triggered by those inhumane body standards.
Hello, I'm Simon, I'm 20 years old, and I suffered from anorexia nervosa when I was in elementary school.
Hi, my name is Sabrina, I'm 22 years old. I'm coming here today because telling my story about anorexia is my way of having a voice.
Hi, my name is Charlotte. I'm a journalist and I'm here to tell my story of living with an eating disorder of bulimia.
My story starts when I'm around 12 or 13 years old. I got up on the scale and I realized, oh well, I thought that I was too fat.
My eating disorder first developed in 2011 when I was 9 years old. When I was younger, I was slightly overweight, and my parents, with the world's best intentions, tried to show me the importance of eating correctly and taking care of one's body.
The first times I started living with an eating disorder was when I was a teenager, back when I was around 15 years old. And it really started as a way for me to control my weight, to control what I was eating, and then it developed into bulimia for when I was when I was in my early 20s. So I started, exercising so much and learning all about the diets I could follow from a very young age, and working out to the point of exhaustion or throwing up.
At 14 years old, my parents got very scared, so we went around Montreal, going around clinics to find a doctor who could help me. I ended up at St. Justine, and I remember perfectly my first appointment at the clinic there. I get in the room with the doctor, and my parents are outside, and the doctor looks at me and he says like, "Hey kid, I know like we got a problem, but I know you can solve it, so next week when you come back, you'll have to put on the weight. Otherwise, I'll have to get you admitted here because your body is letting go. My heart was letting go." So I go home and I'm very hopeful, I'm very determined. At the time, I didn't realize that I was sick. I was 14 and my eating habits were very normal. So I go home and I really try for the first 2 days. And then I get all scared again, so I stop eating. And when I come back the next week to the doctor, I'd lost weight. So the doctors didn't give me any choice, and they told my parents like, she's gonna get admitted, she has to stay here, she's a danger to herself.
And after my time spent in the hospital, it was the time spent at home that was the longest and the most difficult. And it took me a lot of time to develop a healthy relationship with food and with my appearance. And I think that today I can safely say that I feel relieved of my eating disorders, and it's been approximately 7 years that I feel this way.
At one point I had so much anxiety and I started, my hair started to fall out. I was never like super thin, but I didn't look healthy. I didn't feel healthy, of course not. And I also suffered from depression at that time when like anxiety became too much. I just was so exhausted, from all that anxiety, but also from not eating properly and not having the proper nutrition I needed at the time. So what I did was, at some point, enough was enough. So I sought the help of a therapist. We worked on the behaviors that were causing me the most suffering at the time, and we balanced my anxiety levels with like correcting my thought process, like how my inner dialogue was also very important in that manner. I was, having so much, my inner dialogue was so negative, like I was so hard on myself. So it was like, okay, how can you talk to yourself in a more loving and kind manner first? And also, stop weighting yourself at all, eat the foods you like, in a more intuitive way also was very important in the healing process. And also dealt with social anxiety, so I always thought that I wasn't good enough for other people, so it really made it hard to connect with people, even my family. So I tried to make it work. I stayed at the hospital and I started eating. I went to therapy. I did group therapy, I did heart therapy, I also started writing, which kind of helped. And yeah, I would say like therapy and yoga were like crucial, but I don't think it's a recipe for everyone. It's really about you finding what works for you and how you can replace the unhealthy behaviors and thought patterns with something that is more kind and genuine and compassionate towards yourself. And my family, we wouldn't talk about feelings, so it was an outlet for me to go around and tell them. So I do the work, and 6 weeks later, I'm out, and I'm determined to once again attempt at recovery. And that doesn't work,
because my family was not equipped for dealing with mental illness. My dad is a firm believer that mental illness doesn't exist. So I would have, when I went home after that first admission, I had every day I had a weight checkup, and if I didn't put on the weight, I would get insulted, I'd get yelled at, I would sometimes get hit. And it really made it unbearable because no one would actually step up and tell my dad, this is not how you treat someone. And it made it a very toxic environment. And I got sick around Christmas. I had a bad food poisoning, so I started losing even more weight. So it made it even worse because I was already thin, and I was even thinner because I couldn't keep anything down. So my dad was even harsher and harsher. Every day it was very toxic. So I got myself admitted for a second time. I left.
Another thing that I retained from this experience is that today, I cannot safely say that I am 100% cured of my eating disorder, because I think that I still have a certain fragility towards what I eat and towards my appearance. But after all those years of therapy and being followed by a team of healthcare professionals, and all this time of reflection and work on myself, I had the chance to develop tools that help me manage my stress and manage my anxiety in regards to my appearance. And I can safely say that today I have achieved a balance in my life, even though I'm still somewhat fragile in regards to that issue.
I have so many tools now and people that I have found that support me through those issues that I live with on a daily manner. So I hope that whoever ever listens to this, if they have an eating disorder, there's no shame in having one. You are not your illness, and there's no shame in asking for help. I was actually a lost cause, getting admitted twice, almost dying. My heart was I was on the verge of having a heart attack. So, and I really, it's possible, and you have to ask for help. And if people makes you feel bad for asking for help, then it's on them and it's not on you. That second admission at the hospital, it really saved my life. And for people who are actually trying to support someone with a loved one, is actually to not give up on them.
I think that a lot of men may feel this kind of stigma with eating disorders and with other mental health issues as well. And I think that we can relate this kind of issue to the idea of toxic masculinity, of this ideal model of the stoic man who does not allow himself to show any kind of vulnerability or sensibility. And this kind of archaic model, I think, needs to be not only denounced, but also replaced by a more positive model that allows men to have feelings and to appreciate their vulnerabilities. And this might allow other men who suffer from eating disorders or who have suffered like me to feel like their feelings are more valid and avoid many men from suffering in silence.
That person, and I'm talking for myself too, she doesn't want to die, and that's something that my family didn't understand. They only understood it way later after I was recovered, because I started talking about it. It's, we don't want to die, we want to live, but this is our way of living, this is our way of protecting ourselves.
With time, it didn't happen overnight, of course. I don't feel fat anymore. I just love my body.
Hello, bonjour. My name is Josée Lavigne. I'm here to tell you about our services here at Aneb, Quebec, Anorexia and Bulimia, Quebec. Anorexia and Bulimia Quebec was founded by a physician about 30 years ago. Anyone who has questions, anyone who wants to simply talk about what they're going through, this is a helpline that is available for them. It's throughout Quebec in French and English, and anyone outside, if they're francophone, can call us as well. At Anorexia and Bulimia Quebec, our services have expanded because of the demands, which is 131% more since the start of the pandemic. of course, we see that it is a very difficult situation that we were all living in, and it's important to recognize the help that everyone can have with someone struggling with an eating disorder. And we're not talking about only professionals in the milieu, but we're also talking about friends and family, how they can really enable the person who is struggling right now to have, to feel supported. The illness itself makes it that the person struggling with an eating disorder will isolate themselves. If you just reach out and make them understand that you'll love them no matter what, this will help them. So this idea taken from where Aneb started from, the physician who was interested in organizing a community-based organization, is really goes with this idea that everyone can help. Society at large can also play an important role in recognizing how it can influence eating disorders on different people who might be at risk of developing an eating disorder. So it's very important as a person, but also as a society, to take this into consideration.
I'm a girl's girl, I'm a boss in a man's world. Yeah, I can pick and roll past ballerina twirls. Skating through the city with my snapback on. Still be looking pretty with no makeup on. It's a fuck with, get a red lip. But meet me on a court, I'll buy you up right quick. They be like, baby, baby, how you get so fine? But I don't do no favors for the studio time. My mama said marry a rich man. Oh no, and I was like, mama, I am that rich man. Oh yo, 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 yeah. Oh mommy, oh my God, how this girl gets so fly. I do what you doing, but doing it like a tomboy. Oh mommy, oh my gosh, how this girl gets so fly. I do what you doing, but doing it like a tomboy. Solo riding, barely trying. They know to call me when they wanna get it poppin'. Sweet like some honey, but I always go hard. I don't like the drama, but I'll finish what you start. I'm making sure you get the memo, yeah. I'll meet you up on any level, yeah. Independent, don't need help. Underestimate me, you'll be playing yourself. My mama said marry a rich man. Oh no, and I was like, mama, I am that rich man. Oh yo, 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 yeah. Oh mommy, oh my God, how this girl gets so fly. I do what you doing, but doing it like a tomboy. Oh mommy, oh my gosh, how this girl gets so fly. I do what you doing, but doing it like a tomboy. I'll make a jealous girl my friend. I'll make an ex want me again. I got the best of both worlds. I can hang with the dudes, get pretty with the girls. Oh mommy, oh my God, how this girl gets so fly. I do what you doing,